Hi, I'm preparing a series on solution architect that is technology agnostic solution architecture. And I will start with introduction and going into details. And this video is the first in the series because I found that people prefer shorter videos on YouTube compared to long videos. So I don't want to put the entire solution architecture um, into one video. So I will break it into a series of 6, 7 videos, and this one is the first. I will create the playlist, and I will provide a process of or a framework to build a solution architecture, irrespective of the technology stack. Um, I have worked as solution architect for more than 5 years before moving to the enterprise architect role. And in those 5 years, I'd spent a lot of time studying about solution architecture and did some certifications also, like AWS and some other courses. And uh, and based on the practical experience and also working closely with a few other experienced solution architect, I thought of creating this series of a technology agnostic solution architecture. So, who is a solution architect? So, solution architect creates technology or IT solutions to business problems, solutions that meet business objectives and needs, solutions that follow architecture principles and technology standards, and solutions that fulfill the business requirements. Uh, Definitely, the solution will include some IT applications, and solution architects create the solution architecture, and in this process they create multiple artifacts uh, depending on the different expectations of different stakeholders. Solution architects prepare the solution architecture in the context of the organization, of the project, of the business requirements, and of the technology stack. So solution architect the solution to a business problem and does a few more things. So more the knowledge of the design patterns, frameworks, architecture principles, existing architectures, and also the deeper the understanding of the business domain, the better is the solution architect is equipped to prepare the solution architecture. In this, the purpose of preparing these videos is also to provide a step-by-step approach or a process to architecting a solution. That is from how to understand the business problem, how to break the problem into manageable logical components, how components integrate and communicate, and how they manage the information as well as they share the information, and then also how to take care of the non-functional aspects of the solution which might not be there in the business requirements, and provide a good customer experience. um, so as a uh, solution architect should have a knowledge of the business domain, the at least the current domain for which the solution architect is working. But in general, solution architects build some deep understanding of one or two business domains. They should understand the technology. In a sense, they might not be required to write code, but they should be able to understand the code because they act as a technology consultant to the business stakeholders. So they should understand the technology stack. They should understand what can be done with the technology, what cannot be done with the technology. One of the very good example right now is like AI, and a lot of business stakeholders want to hear from technology consultants like, okay, what they can do with AI, where AI can help and where AI cannot help. But solution architect also act as a business consultant to the technology team, help technology team understand the business. So in an overall, solution architect is the smartest person around in the team and in the project. And solution architect knows what is important, where to focus most, where to start, what to document, what to include in the artifact, what to exclude from the architect, and so on. Solution architects should have an ability to work with different technology platforms. Solution architects have a wide vision. They understand business, they have knowledge of business domain, and even if they work in a new business domain, they should be able to quickly understand the actors, roles, use cases, business case, and so on. They should have understanding of the methodology, processes, and practices of software development and delivery, that is the engineering and the operations, including DevSecOps. They should have knowledge of the design patterns, architecture principles. They should have knowledge of well-architected frameworks such as those provided by AWS, Azure, and Google. Existing organizational assets within the organization and outside the organizations. They should have a good designing skills. They should be able to create diagrams that everyone can understand. That should be looking good and also clear, consistent. They can create impressive design thinking ahead of everyone, assuming the trade-offs and the alternatives and provide the most suitable solutions. They should also have a good documentation and visualization skills. Lastly, a solution architect should have a leadership skills. They are good communicator. They have negotiation skills. They have presentation skills. They have ability to guide, mentor, and lead the team. Um, Primarily, solution architects have some responsibilities, and not necessarily all these responsibilities I mentioned here are applicable to a solution architect in any organization, because some organizations actually differentiate and create a different solution architect for different activities. But an experienced solution architect can work as a technology consultant or an enterprise solution architect. So in some companies like EPAM, they might be called technology consultants. Somewhere I think in Tech Mahindra, in Accenture, they call enterprise architects or technology strategists who work with the stakeholders, present technology, technical capabilities, and architecture. Um, they may coordinate with multiple technology-specific solution architects, such as IAM architect, CRM architect, data architect, and so on, and present a consolidated target architecture as part of the pre-sales activity. I believe most of the service-based companies, including IBM, TCS, Infosys, also might be following the same pattern. Now, not all companies have pre-sale activities, like in large banks, such as I worked for Barclays for a few years, and there was no or very little pre-sale activities. There was some consulting activities in which I used to provide some consultancy of what can be achieved with technology or technical capabilities to product managers. For example, I was a solution architect for new customer onboarding, and I used to get meeting requests from different businesses as they wanted to reuse the customer onboarding journeys. But in service-based companies, there is an official pre-sales department, and in most places, either they work closely with solution architects. A few solution architects are part of the pre-sales team. They might even have title like pre-sales solution architect. They either help or themselves prepare the RFP, RFQ, etc. I mean, respond to RFP, RFQ, etc. Also, sometimes senior level technology consultants or senior solution architects are involved in this phase, and then they leave next or rest of the phases to be completed by the less experienced solution architects. But the primary responsibility of solution architect in most companies is the projects. So in IT, we work on projects. Every project is initiated to solve a business problem or to achieve some business objective, and projects need architect to prepare the solution uh, within the scope of the project. And this is what the most of the solution architects do. They design solution, communicate with the stakeholders, uh, both from business and technology side. They document solutions, they guide technology teams for implementing the solutions. They might do POC, they can do code reviews, and they contribute and do everything for the successful delivery of the solution. Third one, I mentioned like, okay, solution architects also have the responsibility to create a high quality deliverable, such as architecture, design document, diagrams, artifacts, and so on. They collaborate with other solution architects within the organization, and so that they are aware of what is going on in other parts of the organization. And they will create multiple views of the solution design depending on the different viewpoints of different stakeholders. For example, they can create multiple diagrams highlighting different aspects, like infrastructure diagram, integration diagram, microservices, security diagram, data diagram, and so on. Lastly, they also maintain the architecture repository. And one more thing, solution architects' responsibility, and they might be involved into this organization initiatives. They may be contributing to grow the solution architecture community or practice or team within the organization. They might be writing blogs and articles. They can take interviews. They present technology internally and externally, or they might be preparing some case studies and presenting them. They can provide training, they can provide mentoring to new solution architects, and so on. Remember, in every organization, there is always a why, what, and how part. So, if we talk specifically about the IT projects, then what they do, they bring some change. And there are three questions that as a solution architect can ask, or anyone can ask, and everyone in the team working on a project should understand this, that why this change, uh, what is changing, and how it is changing. So in a business initiated changes, a business strategist will answer why they change, because they understand the customers, company, market regulations, etc., and bring a change. And that is the strategy they prepare, either to increase the revenue or to reduce the cost. For example, an automobile company may decide to start manufacture electric vehicles, or a bank want to digitally onboard new customers, or a traditional infrastructure company enters communication business, or a retail shop wants to sell online, and so on. Now, business analysts, or sometimes business architects or enterprise architects, may help in creating the requirements, more detailed requirements, and specifying what to change. Because someone has to convert the strategy into actionable items. In order to execute this strategy, we have to say explicitly what to change, or clearly articulate and document what is the change. Um, from technology or IT perspective, we call it business requirements. Now, actually, enterprise architects and business architects can help in this process, but generally, business analysts or sometimes product managers, they are responsible to create these business requirements or user stories. And this is how they map why and what. In a small and medium setup, um, requirements are created iteratively, and but anyways, actually, as we move on, the solution architect part comes to answer how to change, how we are going to execute this change, and they prepare this architecture for how to change. There is another perspective also, like we can divide the solution architect work into three phases. One is the pre-design phase. Here architects understand the business mission, vision, strategy, goals, objectives, And they also explore the existing architecture, maybe enterprise, business, or other architecture or artifacts available. They get familiar with the stakeholders, and they get a first-hand look at the business requirements. They might also see how detailed business requirements are documented, and they they can build an understanding and document the context. Now, actually, this might seem similar to some of this can be part of pre-sales also, because during pre-sales, solution architect get all this information also. And the next phase is solution discovery. And in this phase, solution architects billing officially start on the project, and for the designing work, and it is time for solution architect to go deeper into the requirements, and if required, schedule quality attribute workshops to document the non-functional requirements, and also the uh, um, any constraints. A solution architect will do as much as possible to explore the current or baseline architecture, that is what is already existing, and also prepare a fluid target architecture, and maybe a draft high level design can be deliverable from this stage. Not in many cases, there will not be a officially separate phase 2 and phase 3, but as a solution architect, I would recommend to take this two-step approach. You can define the time target, such as 2 weeks for the phase 2 and 3 weeks for the phase 3. And in first 2 weeks, just focus on these activities of capturing the baseline architecture, preparing some draft architecture, also understanding the non-functional requirements and understanding the requirements as much deep as possible. Also in phase 2, gather industry references, gather already available artifacts in the architecture repository within the organization and outside the organization. Now, the last phase is actually the solution design phase, and in which solution architects prepare the design, and they also get involved into the projects more, like the development and development part, maybe some POC work. They do estimations. They might be doing some migration planning, and they might also prepare some transition architectures. So between current and target, they might prepare some intermediate architectures. And this is just an example of what a solution architecture might look like. This is pretty broad, because it includes multiple things, from content management to the channels, like online system, mobile system, then some backend layers, which are aggregation layers also, then load balancers, some domain layer where most of the business logic is, then data stores, then data from multiple data stores being brought together into a warehouse, and then some analytics and machine learning. Now, this is a technology agnostic architecture. Now, actually, if you are designing for, like for example, you are designing for on AWS, then you might be looking for AWS services, which might be helping to the corresponding layers. Um, but definitely, there will be some system to manage the content, some online channels for interacting with customers, and so on. So in similar to this, you solution architect can collect some reference architectures, which can help them in preparing the target architecture. Uh, in my actually experience, and what I did was I used to take 5 essential steps for a solution architecture, and there can be more, but these 5 were essential steps for me after passing the discovery step. So, uh, so after I pass the discovery, understand the project stakeholders, etc. I then take 4 steps. Let's exclude the documentation part because the documentation will be like an ongoing activity. I take 4 steps, in general sequential, but they can be iterative also. So, and then I can take a few iterations over all these 4 steps. So in each step, like I start with functional decomposition. So this is where I used to decide how many services or how many microservices, how many data stores. So I break the big problem into smaller pieces. And then I used to decide like, okay, how these smaller components will interact with each other, what kind of data they will own, and how to minimize the data sharing, but as well as exchange information among those components. Then how to design the data architecture for each of those components. And then I used to take care about the non-functional aspects like security, availability, reliability, resilience, and so on. And in all these steps, I would document them. So, and from any step, I can go to any step. And I used to do multiple iterations among these 4 steps. Uh, so going forward, I will prepare more videos on each of this step, what to do in these steps, and more detailed video. But then it's obviously depends on the time and depends on the context and the breadth. Like, okay, one can decide how much detail in each of this step I need to go. So if you have any suggestion, then comment. If you like the video, like, and if you would like to be updated with the more future videos, then please subscribe. Thank you.